say the debt was a positive thing, because I don't love that that's there. But it did force us to talk about money so early on in our relationship that we are brutally honest about it now, and it makes me very comfortable heading into a marriage that we're going to be on the same page about money.
How do you start talking to your partner about their finances? And what do you do when you find out they have a lot of debt? Today we're talking to Erin Lowry about her own experience of having the talk with her boyfriend and what she did when confronted with his student loan debt.
So I first found out my now fiance, then boyfriend, had student loan debt probably 2 years into our relationship, and we've been together 7 years at this point. And once we started to get really serious, that's when I realized we need to have this conversation. So we sat down and I just very bluntly asked him, how much student loan debt do you have? Truthfully, he wasn't sure. And a big part of that was he was 17 years old when he went to college, so his parents signed the student loans. He wasn't even really a part of it his freshman year. And then he took out some and his parents kept taking out some. So for about 4 months, he and I were not sure exactly how much debt there was, and every time we would have a conversation about it, it was a little bit more, a little bit more. And I finally said, like, hey, this is stressing me out. Seriously, how much student loan debt is there? And that's when he got the information from his mom, logged into all the databases that he needed to, and figured out exactly what the debt burden was. It was a little shocking because I had lived my whole life with the ambition to be debt-free. So here I am, falling in love with somebody and thinking about, like, this could be the person I marry, which I am now, and just thinking, that's so stressful. Do I want to carry that burden? And I was so open and honest with him about it, but just saying, debt's something I've worked actively against, and I've made my life decisions based on avoiding debt. So truthfully, it stresses me out that you have it. Can we talk about how we would handle this as a team? And that's how we started the conversation. His knee-jerk reaction was, it's my problem, not your problem. And I said, okay, for now that's true, but ultimately if we get married, your financial situation does impact my financial situation. Doesn't matter who incurred the debt coming into this marriage, and it doesn't matter how much money I have going into the marriage. So it took him a little while, truthfully, to come around to that idea. He has made so much effort in striving to get rid of the debt that's what I focus on. Yeah, it's a bummer the debt's there, but what matters is how he's handling it now. I am not putting any money of my own earning towards the student loan debt until we get married. That's something we decided together. However, we have ad nauseum talked about what the different debt repayment strategies are going to be, because that's what made me comfortable marrying into debt, was having a plan in place for us to move forward together as a team. One of the best ways to start is with a positive. So instead of attacking and kind of doing what I did and saying, how much student loan debt do you have? Start with a really open-ended question. What's a financial goal you have in 5 years? And with that information, you can kind of backdoor your way into the conversation. So let's say your partner says, I want to be debt-free in 5 years. And you say, well, what's standing in your way? What kind of debt do you have? And maybe they're only comfortable saying, I have student loans and a little bit of credit card debt. Conversation one might not be comfortable getting into the actual numbers, but you need to get there eventually. Now, if the two of you seem to only fight about money, every time you try to have the conversation, if it gets really tense, that's when you might want to bring in a third party. It needs to not be a parent, not be a friend, not be anybody that's related to the two of you. It needs to be a professional. So it could be a therapist, it could be a financial advisor, but someone who's just a neutral third party who can make sure that you are listening to each other, not just hearing each other. Money is so much a part of your life forever, and if you two can't communicate about that now, it's something you need to think about. And I'm not saying a bad credit score should make you cut and run, and I'm not saying debt should make you cut and run. But if the behaviors aren't changing and the conversation, the communication isn't changing, eventually you have to make a tough call.
My top takeaway from Erin was the value of full financial disclosure. It's not just about finding out whether they have debt. It's about making sure your values, priorities, and expectations align, especially as you move forward in your relationship. Open and honest discussions of your financial failures and goals can bond you as a team, even when you disagree, by building a foundation for you to handle problems together. That's all for this episode of the Money Insider series. I'm Stephanie O'Connell. To learn more about Erin, you can follow her at Broke Millennial. And remember to subscribe to the channel for more real money talk from Money Insiders and more.